What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Catalyst podcast, a podcast where we get founders, VCs, check up, see what they've been up to, what's next, and to just get to know them better. On today's episode, we have Aadhav Sundar. So I'm just going to give you the mic from here. Let us know, what have you been working on?
Hey, what's up? So I'm the founder of Stride Labs. What we do is we automate this one specific process in making a medical device called a custom orthotic insole using our own software. So we take this one specific part and we make it so that it can be fully automated. You don't have to hire someone to do that part anymore. And that's exactly what we do.
Okay, so I'm really interested into your overall business, but I kind of want to take a step back a little bit. So tell us about yourself, what even got you to the college you're at, because you go to Georgia Tech. Why did you choose that school, and what kind of got you into that entrepreneurial spirit and at such an early age as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually came to Georgia Tech because it's I'm in state, and so tuition wise, this is a deal you really cannot beat. I'm paying $200 a semester. Like I don't think you get any college for that price. So that's why I came to Georgia Tech mainly. But it's also a really good college. I think I'm doing biomedical engineering here, and it's ranked number one for that. So I mean, there's also that. But entrepreneurial wise, right? I realized really quickly that we're building all this really cool stuff at this college. Like everyone you see around you is building all these side projects, and these people could easily build the next Google, and you don't even really think about that at all. All you're thinking about is get an internship, get a job. And when I saw the first Stripe Exchange meeting I went to, and I saw other founders, for example Sean Henry, who already succeeded, it was a really big hey, maybe I could do this, right? And I started building, and now I'm starting my customer research, and it's just the same thing as a side project, really. Yeah, except you're just gonna launch it and sell it to someone else.
Yeah, well, that's very cool. What exactly are you majoring at Tech?
Yeah, I'm majoring in biomedical engineering,
Yeah,
but I'm also doing a minor in robotics.
very cool. Did you always know what major you wanted to do, or did you kind of lock it in recently?
I mean, not really. So when I first started applying to colleges, I was applying to a lot of BSMD programs, which are the combined bachelor's and uh, MDs for becoming a doctor. It's a really fast, probably the best way to become a doctor, I would say.
Yeah.
But I don't really get too many of those, and also the schools that have those aren't really super high ranking. I mean, I'm sure they're great schools, but they don't have too much clout. They're not Harvard Medical School or anything like that. But anyway, I ended up coming to Georgia Tech at the end because I really just liked being in this area. I loved Atlanta. I mean, I'm from Peachtree City, which is a little bit further south of here. And yeah, and also biomedical engineering here is really good. It's very high ranked, and it's a great program.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Did you have any other entrepreneurial journeys that you went on to when you were in high school or even younger?
Yeah, so in high school, I actually did a lot of stuff with drones. I was in this drone team where we made all these it's like a search and rescue mission. We'd go in and you'd have to pick up an object and bring it back and put it in a specific spot. I have to be fully autonomous. And through that, I got really heavily into drones. And when we won that, we won the competition. We won the whole international competition. It was crazy. And they gave us a drone. They gave us a really nice Skydio drone, and I started flying it. And this is nothing like what we made. I mean, we made an autonomous drone, right? But this is that taken to the next level. It's like if a company like Apple went in and really made everything perfect. And so after that, I started taking this technology, and I was how can we apply it to the real world? Who really cares about drones? I mean, these things fly around. It's really cool. And I found out really fast that people like seeing stuff from the sky. I mean, we have high-rise buildings here, and so I started working with a lot of realtors. I started working with some sports teams. If you know Madden, if you've played Madden Mobile or really any of those games, all of those have a bird's eye view of the game, right? But imagine if you're a coach and you can see that for your players, and you can see if they're actually running the right lines. So we actually worked with my high school's football team. We did some footage for them as well. We also did some footage for some landscaping companies, and they want to get quotes, so they can just take a picture from really high up and then find the area of a certain land area, and they can give them a quote really fast, really easily. So it's a lot of drone stuff is what I did.
That's super cool. So you kind of already had a little venture business experience, you would say?
Yeah, it's not anything crazy, but yeah, it was definitely there.
Cool. So to take it back to Stride Labs, how did you get that idea and when did you get it?
Stride Labs is a really crazy experience. So I wanted to become a medical assistant to get some because my whole plan was to become a doctor, right? And so to do that, you have to grind out hours, things like that. And I applied to be a medical assistant at a bunch of different places. And one day, like I'm at the gym after submitting an application, and I'm just like working out. I get a phone call, and usually I don't really take random phone calls that come to my phone. And I just took this one. And this is the CEO of the Ankle Foot Centers of America, which is one of the largest like podiatry like clinic organizations in the entire like North America. And he was like, "Well, we saw that you applied to be a medical assistant, but your resume is like really good, and we wanted to see if you want to become like a biomedical engineering like research type role." And he showed me around his office. He showed me like a lot of different problems, and he specifically wanted me to develop like in-house manufacturing of this like specific medical device called a custom orthotic insole. And I looked into that, and it's really possible. I mean, there's actually a lot of companies that are doing this right now. But I found out that like I could do this myself, and I could do it like take it from a different angle. So Stride Labs is kind of similar to that, but not quite. So we automate like this one specific part of making these insoles, where he wanted me to make like the entire like process. So yeah, that's what we do now.
Super, super cool. So how long have you been at this?
I started in like May last year, so it's about to be our 1 year anniversary sometime around now. I think maybe this week, next week, maybe something like that.
Very cool. Are you working on this alone, or do you also have like a team that's working with you?
So I'm a solo founder, but I do have a couple interns that are working with me right now. I think our total team size is probably like 7 people if you look at everyone.
Very cool. So when you actually got that idea, how did you kind of set KPIs or goals and kind of like set a timeline for you to actually achieve things? Because you've been at this for a year now. Did you like already have goals in place and were you able to reach them? What was your overall strategy for like setting goals?
So at first it was just like a fun, like, just check out type thing, right? Just figure out what market this is, how do they even make these things, stuff like that. And I don't really have too many goals back then when I first started. It was just like understand the problems. Through that, we pivoted like a lot constantly. Like the first like 5, 6 months even, we had a different idea probably every week. It was like we didn't even know what to build. We only really started building maybe about like 2 or 3 months ago, and that's when we started setting actual goals. So we use like agile workflow, things like that, to make sure that we're hitting our marks. And at the beginning of this year, we all sat down and we're like, all right, we need to launch this year. I want to get some revenue going. Let's get something going. And so we set up like our exact timeline of how we're going to develop and like feature wise, and then we're planning to launch this at the end of this month. So there's that.
Very, very cool. And I want to also take it to kind of like your personal side, taking it away from Stride Labs, even though it does affect it a little bit. You've been generating a lot of personal content on like Instagram and other social medias. What was the decision making behind that?
So I mean, like we go to Georgia Tech, and it's a really really top engineering school, right? And all these people I talk to every day, like they are very very good engineers. Don't get me wrong, right? But no one wants to build. It doesn't make sense to me, right? I mean, SX here is really big and things like that, but maybe 1% of the school is actually like doing anything actually ready to build it. And so I want people like really all these really talented engineers to start building, and that's like the main reason I started my whole social media thing. Like it's really not that difficult to get into this space, and they're already taking the steps to go toward it. They just need to take like one more step, or like they're like really close. And so I'm trying to help people get to that point.
Hmm. Very, very cool. So, do you think this is also gonna have an effect on Stride Labs?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I'm starting to make a lot of noise online. Even earlier, right, when we were like, we just had like a social media account for Stride Labs alone, and not like my own personal thing going on. We like started making a lot of noise about like us using AI in our product. Like we didn't even say too much about what it was. We just said AI, right? And like literally the next week, all of our competitors, we look on their web pages, they all have AI on their homepage. Like it was actually crazy. I'm causing some real change in this world just by making a social media post. Like it's insane out there.
That's funny. So, kind of also to take it back to like how are you setting goals? Like can you get into more detail about how you're planning on setting goals like for the future, like post launch? What does that look like? Like after you launch, what questions do you ask yourself, and does your team ask to just know if you should keep going with Stride Labs or not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want to make sure that we remain positive for throughout. I know a lot of companies they like to burn for the first bit, but I mean we're a software company, right? It really, uh, we could definitely get away with not burning money. So I want to make sure we remain cash positive. I also want to make sure that we don't take too much investment. A lot of people think that VC investment is really really like the top
Mm,
thing. Like once you get VC, you're set for life, right? And we've received a couple of offers. They're pretty decent offers as well. But at this stage, you should really only be taking VC funding if you're absolutely positive that it goes on and it will completely change your company. And so that's why like our goals are very like limited to what we have. We don't want to go and like, oh yeah, I want to onboard 50 customers next month. I mean, we really do not have the resources to do that, right? But we want to go step by step, right, and start moving in the right direction, and we'll come up with our own plan from that.
100%. So even when you kind of got the idea, what questions did you ask yourself to see if there's like even a market for this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really didn't have an idea at first, right? I mean, I was just like looking around, just seeing how they make these at all. But finding the market really was really validated when we had competitors. A lot of people think that if you have competitors in your field, then it's over, bro. Like, you just don't even develop. Just don't even bother, right? But competitors are good. They show that there is a real market for this, and all you have to do is differentiate yourself a little bit to make you the best option. And so those competitors are really the only reason why you even kept developing.
100%. So you obviously do a lot, whether it's like the extracurricular like communities that in college or building your own startup, and as well like Georgia Tech. There's a lot. It's like the top school for like giving out homework. So there's a lot of like things that are always like taking from your time. How are you able to balance all this?
Bro, it's rough out there. I mean, we're not really bouncing. It's maybe like you're losing a lot of sleep, drinking a lot of Red Bull. That's just part of it, how it is to be a founder. But managing time, we do like a little bit. So like I wake up at like 10 a.m. I guess, right? I try to work through my lunches and all my food. And homework wise, I would rather do my startup over my homework. I know it's probably not the best thing to do, but if it's like a time where I could either be going to class, I could be doing a lab experiment, right? Versus
Yeah.
like I'm about to secure this deal or I'm about to complete and push this feature, right? I'm choosing the feature. And so I mean that's the only reason we're able to get this much progress going. I mean, if I chose homework every time, there's probably not a chance. And sure that it's gonna hit you like, GPA wise, and you're also gonna start struggling in your classes a little bit. But I mean, the real world experience like is probably the bigger thing here. I mean, you'll hear the same thing about internships. Like one internship is worth maybe like 20 classes here. It's a way different to be in the real world.
100%. Would you ever think of like taking like a gap semester or a gap year to just focus and hone in all your energy?
Oh yeah, definitely. So this summer we're full time. We're going in on this project, and depending on how this goes, we might even go part time or just take off the next semester, right? Because I mean, we're gonna get this company off the ground at any cost.
100%. You're the CEO of this, and obviously you said like you have like other interns on this, and like your team of like you said 7.
Mhm.
How is it to have everyone on the same page and kind of like have like a leadership for the team? Because sometimes it's really hard to get people motivated or just to be able to articulate your vision into words or to just get people hyped on your vision to actually make it happen. So how do you do that?
That's probably the hardest part of being like a management role. Like you know what you want, right? But you have no clue how to like let them know. And it's the same way when you're like asking ChatGPT, like I want to make this code, right? And you have to prompt it, and it gives you something completely different because you don't know how to tell it what to make. And so what we do is we use something called Jira software, and it uses like an agile workflow. So what we do is we like give step by step instructions of how to build things. And while this sounds like a lot of work, it's much better to do it this way than like build it yourself. So if you want other people working on it, you have to tell them exactly what to do. You have to be super detailed in it, and you have to be able to answer the questions when they ask you.
100%. You said it's called Jura software.
Yeah, Jira software. It's pretty standard stuff that a lot of the big companies use around here. So
Very cool. And yeah, so that's that. And then do you also like set like how do you even bring them on? What was that like?
I just started onboarding them this week actually. So it's just like kind of putting them into all the software applications we have. We have Jira, we have our Slack, all the company things so they can get involved. But we're gonna start really working and having the full team together probably starting like next week. So it's definitely like it's coming along for sure.
100%. Did you have to do like any like kind of initial research? Because you said the way that you even got the idea or you got involved in this kind of like this industry, and then you got that phone call. But other than that, did you just like pick up the phone and ask people, just kind of like vet your ideas?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, the first thing we actually did is we actually called up literally every single podiatry clinic that is within like about 50 miles of Atlanta, and not many of them answered. A lot of them like pretty much like told the doctor was one of them even told me the doctor was out for 3 years. Which come on, bro, like at least give me a good lie, like. But maybe we ended up having like 3 people actually answer. But these 3 doctors were super interested. They gave me so much valuable information, and they told me exactly how to move forward. And I was able to find out like these are the companies that are making these insoles, and I can go reach out to them. And like it really set it up for me. So you have to start from the bottom up. At least that's what happened for us.
100%. And how do you like think ahead to the point of like even how you're gonna market this and what questions you ask for that?
So marketing this type of product is a little bit weird because I mean it's B2B SaaS, and like these businesses aren't exactly like people that are like on reels every day or like just looking at billboards, right?
Yeah.
So we have to know exactly where to go, and so we're using like the email softwares, like Hunter.io, where you can find like once you like know what company you want to get into, you can pretty much find anyone's email out there. And so we're using stuff like that to like get in, and then we can pitch our product to them, and most of the time they're actually interested in our product. It's just more about finding them and making sure they know what we're doing.
100%. And what is your go to market strategy?
So our current go-to-market strategy is just we have one really big customer right now with an LOI, and so you want to go in and cash in on that. And then once we have that customer, we can like use that as leverage with other people we have leads with, right? Like we have one of the biggest customers in this industry. Don't you want to be like them or something like that? And we can go forward with that. But we want to secure this one big customer first.
100%. So you said like you brought up a really good point. For some reason in like the founder ecosystem, when someone hears VC funding or like when even from the outside lens, I would say if someone like sees VC funding, that's like, oh, I made it. Really? But essentially it doesn't really mean anything. Like the whole reason that people get VC funding is because they want to scale, but I mean it's not for everyone, right? And you mentioned like at your current stage, like you don't really need it, you don't see there's a cause. But when you said you did get some offers, can you share like a little bit about that story? Like how were you even able to get into those rooms for VC funding and how was that process like?
Yeah, sure. So I did a couple of different ways, couple of different like things to like really show off my startup outside. So I did like the Thai Atlanta network, which is like one of the biggest like entrepreneurial networks, I guess, in the world. But we went through that. We went to their pitch competitions and things like that. And I met a lot of the judges and a lot of the mentors in that ecosystem are also angel investors. So we met a lot of people through that. Another way we met investors was just another pitch competition, right? There's this Orca network online which I applied to, and I didn't really get to go to the pitch competition. I didn't get accepted for that, but we got like a lot of investor views for our profile. So like even like A16Z, like it was some big investors, right? And I mean, not always, obviously not all of them like want to like give you an offer, but some of them did, and we got to meet with them through there.
Very, very cool. That's sick. What else? So what do you do outside of like founding and just building and school? Just straight up like extracurricular or like what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, this takes a lot of time, right? But yeah, I do also do some other stuff for fun. I hang out with my friends. They're all in a frat, so it's really nice. You can have fun with them whenever you want to have fun. I do also play a little bit of tennis and stuff on the side. But I mean, like founding is like your main thing. It is gonna take a lot of your time. So yeah.
100%. Do you who's like your number one person to go to for like questions in your founding experience? Because I feel like with other people that I've talked to, they always have like one person that's kind of like their mentor that they're always ready to just pick up the phone and call whenever they're going through something.
Oh yeah, for
Would you
sure. I
have
mean,
someone like that?
yeah, yeah. So like Georgia Tech, the CreateX CreateX has like really really good mentors. So there's Rahul Saxena. He's great. He like knows pretty much everything to do. If I have like any question at all, like should I take this offer? Like I'm asking him first. I would also ask like Seth Radman. He's also really like prevalent in this area. But those 2 people are like my go-tos. I need to get advice. I need them to check off on anything before I like take any offers or anything like that.
100%. And even outside of that, like founding is really hard, and everyone like has their own, I would say, distinct talent, and they're kind of like their focus. Like you have like the biomed. So how do you balance that with kind of the business side? If that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like the business side is definitely easier than the engineering side. I know a lot of other founders will say the exact opposite. They really think the engineering side is easier than the business side. But I think if you have a really good product and you've designed it well and it works, it's not that hard to sell it. Like in our experience, we try to cold email people and things like that. We tell them what it does. We tell them what our software does, and we show them like the value. they're pretty much immediately on board. There's really not much convincing or anything like that for us to do. So if you're a good engineer, doing business is pretty easy.
That's gonna be a good clip.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far from just running your startup while you're in college?
The biggest lesson. This is tough. Probably don't rush in too fast, right? Like at first, I applied to like every like high end like VC firm. I did everything right, and we had no product. We didn't even have an idea set, right? It was just like we were just throwing the name out there and be like, yeah, we kind of got a little bit of stuff going on. I mean, come check us out. But I think that was kind of a low-key a mistake because now all the VC firms that we reached out to know us as a really like pre-idea company, right? If we have to reach out to them again and like really show that we've developed and grown since then. Otherwise, you really can't beat that previous reputation that you've built for yourself.
100%. And I kind of want to take it like from the VC route. A lot of questions that people ask, like when they're looking at potential investments, is like, how does that startup differentiate themselves from their competition? So how would you say Stride Labs differentiates itself from its competition?
Yeah, so we differentiate by being the only autonomous software there is. So there's our competition. I guess you have to like really tell you what our software is first, right? So we automate this one specific part of designing a custom orthotic insole. And to do this, there's two different ways, right? You need to go in and click all the different parts of the foot. You need to identify that. But what we do is we automate that clicking part as well. And so that's our main differentiator between us and our competition. That's pretty much it. We're also the only US-based company doing this. So
how do you keep this like how do you keep this just proprietary to you? Like what's stopping other companies from like breaking in and doing it themselves?
So securing data is pretty difficult in this industry. So our data set is really helping us out right now. Also they are using AI. They also have their own data sets and things like that, but they're just simply focused on different parts of the business, right? So we're focused on making it faster overall to making these insoles, right? But they're going to focus on making the same insole apply to more diseases, so you have a bigger customer base. And so it's really just depending on like what you focus on.
100%. I want to take it also back to the personal branding and like social media. In the founding space, a lot of people use Twitter. What type of social media or like which outlet do you recommend the most for someone that's trying to build their own personal brand and also kind of bring that clout of being like a founder?
Yeah. So I think Instagram is probably the best. I'm not too big on Twitter because I mean I tried both Instagram and TikTok. I mean Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, right? And Instagram, if you already have like even a decent following, I mean let's say if you have 500 followers, even less than that, it's so much easier to get any content going already because you get that little boost from your current followers. It's so much faster. Like on TikTok, I'm not gonna lie, like TikTok's the customer base is not very like startup focused or they're looking for brain rot. I'm not gonna lie, right? But Instagram Reels is a little bit different. There's a little bit more following for like e-commerce and dropshipping, like all these like money making ideas. And Twitter I think is also a good option, but I just haven't had too much success with it. So I guess that's why I don't focus too much on there.
Yeah. Maybe in the future you're gonna have to try it out again. I
Yeah.
personally like I want to start getting also like that personal branding or personal content wave because I think it's like a really really good way to meet new people and to like learn new things because you kind of like build a community. Like, have you gotten anyone that just commented you or like that DM'd you and texted you like, hey, let's hop on a call and they just want to learn more about it and like you just got an idea from them or not yet?
Oh yeah, perfect. Like we definitely had like a lot. We had so many DMs. We've had people go on our website and click the learn more button, and then email our company through that, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, people want to learn about what we do. I have this one reel right now that's pinned in my profile that like kind of shows what we do a little bit more in detail. But yeah, people want to get involved. I've gotten a lot of people like requesting to intern and or a co-found and things like that. It's when you put your name out there, like it makes your product seem a lot bigger than it is, right? Like when there's like 30,000 followers or 30,000 views or something, right, on a video about your company, it's just like it's so much bigger. And we're just a 7-person team who's building like one software, right? It's not that big, but it just adds so much more clout.
Yeah, literally. But just taking that step to even posting online, I think it's a really, really hard step because not everyone's comfortable with it, and a lot of people want to have like that mysterious aura.
Yeah, definitely.
What was that? What was that taking that step like for you?
So, I mean, a lot all my followers really like the content, which I totally agree with. I would be pretty pissed off if I saw my face on my feed every day, like I understand. But yeah, so we definitely lost. I lost a lot of followers when I first started posting, but I gained them back really fast. I got a lot, like the following I got from my reels, like kind of made up for it, and it makes made up for it even more. And so once you see that, you're like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not really worth being mysterious. I mean, you can be like Playboy Cardi, right? But are you Playboy Cardi? Like, so it's like it doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
Literally. Hey, that's gonna be another good clip.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So for the next segment, I kind of wanted to keep this episode short. I want to try something new, but
Yeah.
I want to do like a quick fire. So for the next segment, I'm just gonna ask you like a really bunch, like a bunch of questions, and they're gonna be like pretty short, but try to answer them as fast as you can. Okay.
Okay.
Who are you?
I'm Aadhav Sundar, the founder of Stride Labs.
What's your favorite book?
Third book. And then there were none.
Favorite song?
Ooh, Beat It by Future and Metro.
Who do you look up to?
What I look up to. Um, shoot. I want to say Christopher Klaus.
What's your favorite podcast?
Shoot. I don't listen to many podcasts, but I'm gonna say this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's the worst piece of advice someone's ever given you?
Worst piece of advice. Just start selling. Start selling before you build. It's like good and bad. I mean, like it's good in the sense where you can like you can gauge your customer base, but it's bad in the sense where now you've like screwed over. You screwed up with like some customers beforehand, so you have to like be careful with how you do it.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever got?
Also, sell before you build, bro. Like it's both. It's both. So if you sell before you build correctly, you're set. Like your company is gonna be big so fast.
What's been the best memory of building Stride Labs?
Best memory. When we got our when we won SX Summit, second place at SX Summit. That was pretty nice.
What's been the worst memory of building Stride Labs?
When I saw my competitors' pages for the first time and I almost gave up on the spot, I was like, "Oh man, it's over. They're already so much ahead." Like,
What's your biggest regret with Stride Labs?
least regret is not starting this sooner and not launching sooner. If I started building like last semester, we'd been set, bro.
How do you keep yourself disciplined as a founder?
You gotta have like a certain set of rules. So you have to like have one rule per day, like 1 hour of coding minimum per day, right? And then set up the Jira boards, right? And I have those three things plus the agile meetings. So there's four things that happen to happen every single day, and everything else is just on top of that.
Hmm. How do you have work-life balance as a founder?
It's really hard to do that, but I mean, always make sure to go hang out with your friends. Work together with people you like working with, and yeah, don't be alone. Don't stay alone. It's really bad.
What's one piece of advice for someone that's starting their founding journey and they're only in college?
Just start looking for problems around you. I mean, there's stuff to solve. You're working on your side projects anyway. I mean, try and find something cool.
100%. Now, before you go, how can people hear more about Aadhav Sundar and how can they check out Stride Labs?
You can find me on Instagram at prince_aadhav, and you can also search up www.stride-labs.com. So that's our website.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to the episode. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put all his links in the bio, so make sure to check him out. And see you guys in the next episode.